I literally connection at the house. Wi-Fi is one thing, but the actual the reception. You know what I'm saying? Like the reception of my phone, I just wasn't able to pick up any good connection. It was lagging the whole time on my phone. I'm over here trying to do shit on my phone, just order some stuff. It just wasn't fucking working. It was pissing me off. So I walked outside. So that's why I'm just sitting out here right now. I'm just sitting on this little bike rack. Got this little bike rack right here. I'm just sitting on it. Just posted up, minding my own, minding my biz. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But let's talk about these quick fixes, man. Quick fixes in life, man. I'm over here. You know, I wake up some mornings, man. I'm feeling, half empty on some pessimistic shit. You know what I'm saying? Like unfulfilled type shit, and half empty, however you want to look at it. But the issue is with these quick fixes. You know what I mean? Oh shit. Issue is these quick fixes that I kind of want to address. It's really interesting. You find yourself trying to fill the gaps and fill the voids in life, whatever that form of happiness looks like. You know what I mean? I remember before it used to be like alcohol would be a thing. It'd be like, all right, what are we gonna do? Straight in the morning. Straight in the morning, we're gonna get some little baby birds over here. Straight in the morning, we're gonna get somewhere we can get some good breakfast. It used to be a little Mexican spot I used to go to. It was the El Gallito. That's why I say little Mexican. Because it's literally called the El Gallito, the little rooster. But I go there and get some you know what I'm saying, huevos rancheros. They had some other shit. They had all type of food over there, man. Excuse me. But chilaquiles, you get some of that, and then you get like a little, it's like what they open around 11 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m. So I sit there and just get a margarita. You get like two or three margaritas in, just chilling. Get a whole big ass plate of chilaquiles and all that. Get three margaritas in. Walk around for a little bit, get some work in. That used to be that used to be the thing. That used to be the method right there. That used to be the thing to do. That used to be the quick fix. That used to be the morning quick fix. Not feeling whatever, just not feeling up to it, up to life or whatever. Just getting drunk right in the morning. I used to do that shit. Now it's probably more geared towards like sex or something. I mean, probably something along those lines. But the respect factor is like a self respect factor. It's more about that more than anything. You know, it's not even like people would deprive themselves um, for discipline purposes. People will deprive themselves, but you gotta understand it's from a place of self respect. You gotta respect yourself enough to you know deprive yourself of things that would be a detriment to you. You know what I mean? You got to be mindful of that shit. You got to know. You got to be aware, and you got to know. And I think about that sometimes. When I leave the house. Matter of fact, when I'm at home, I got all these topics. Obviously, I got all these topics on my mind. I'm like, okay, this is probably what I'm gonna go on live next time to do, and I might do it to some degree. I might do it in the future just for like pre-recorded kind of stuff rather than going live. But even then, I think a lot of times when I leave the house, I just go based off of the first idea that comes to mind, and I just work off of that. So I kind of just start there. But yeah, it's really interesting. I gotta really buckle down and anchor down on new policies within myself. You know what I mean? I started from somewhere, and now I gotta just keep pushing it the most I can. So I know in my community section, I put out a poll. If you check my community post on my page, I put a poll up just asking how many times I should go live. Originally I was doing like every day as much as I can, and then now I'm like, do I want to do every 4 days, or is there a different method I should do? Because the gaming stuff is what it is, but I'm gonna do a quick 30-minute study at the library when it opens, study a few things. You understand? I'm gonna study that a little bit. I'm gonna tap in with it. Let's see what's going on. Arshia, I see you. I see you, Arshia. Appreciate you dropping in. You know, I appreciate you dropping in and saying hi. Hi to you too. Morning. Good morning. But yeah, it's where I'm at right now. It's like gotta re-anchor down on this stuff, and I lose a bit of self-discipline every time I cave into my quick fixes, But it is what it is. Not that I'm not drinking or nothing, but it could be anything. Or it's just like I'm sleeping in longer than I need to. You know what I'm saying? Skipping out on breakfast. I might overindulge in like food, snacks, things like that. Just things like that. So I'm being very mindful. As of late, you know, I know my health is bad because like my teeth will let me know. My teeth and my breath start to let me know. And lately I've been like smelling metal. I was like, what the fuck? And I realized one night one morning, actually might have been middle of the night, I woke up, smelled some metal, and I was like, damn, is that my breath? Also, I realized like, yeah, I had this feeling months ago, and a lot of it was like when you have like a bit of lung and heart issues, which is interesting because I've been walking a lot, but it starts to affect your health a bit and can start to affect your breath. I remember last time I had this, I had like 3 cigars in 1 week. I was like, damn, I got the metal breath. And I thought it was because I was drinking from this metal cup that I used to use at work. It was like a little like a thermal or thermos or whatever it's called. Like those what do you call this? I don't know the names, man. Not like the Stanley cups, but kind of like a smaller version, just like minus the straw. But it was one of those. But yeah, me, I'm walking uphill all the time, as much as possible. So it surprised me a bit, but nonetheless, it checks out. It makes sense. So yeah, I monitor my own health. I mean, I'm not hurting, but it also doesn't hurt to stay on top of things. But yeah, man, that's where I'm at right now in life. Quick fixes, respect. Whether that self-respect matters more than what how someone feels about you. That's a given. That's elementary right there. But along the way of living life, whether we want acceptance or love from people, we start to cave in a bit. So that's where it gets tricky right there. That's where it gets tricky, you know? But yeah, that's where I'm at with these topics. Ty Rob, you to the channel. Appreciate you dropping in. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for dropping in. Appreciate that. You know, I'm questioning whether I should grab this cup of coffee now or later. I almost want to grab it later. Just post up and chill. Excuse me. But yeah, man, be careful with them quick fixes. Because, that's the other thing about a quick fix. It's quick, like, all right, I'll just do one. I'll sacrifice and I'll do one. And then all of a sudden, whatever that is, some people will cave in and smoke a whole pack of cigarettes to drinking a whole bunch of beer. I just do it one time. It's just one night. But then the one can turn into a habit if you're not in control. This is where the self-respect, you see, this is like a thin line, if not a broad line, depending on your situation. That shit runs between that quick fix and addiction, and on the other side of that line is respect and the self-respect and respect from others. You understand? It's almost like Foursquare. You guys ever played Foursquare, you would know. It's 4 squares inside of a box. People stand on either side, and really what it comes down to is just like, yeah, man, you do a quick fix enough times, it becomes an addiction. Like, yeah, I've done it before, it was successful, I'm gonna do it again. In my instance, it's always something sex related. If it ain't that, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I've been fucking on the same girl for the past couple months anyway, so me and her always hook up. It is what it is. And it's funny because I was hanging out with my friend last night. She was over here. She was like, "Yeah, it's my birthday not too long ago." I was like, "Well, let me get you a drink if you're still drinking." And she wanted me to drink with her, and I was like, "No, I got 8 more years because I'm not gonna drink again until I'm 40." You know, she wanted me to break my pact with myself. She wanted me to break my commitment with myself just to have a drink with her, and I'm like, "No, I'm telling you no." You know what I'm saying? I'm telling her no how many times. I was like, "No, this is my thing. 8 more years, and I'll have a drink, or not right now, no." So it's just like her lack of respect is less important than my respect for myself. To let her know, like, "No, I ain't doing that shit. 8 more years, let's go." That's what I'm saying. Because, like, you know, for my 30s, I'm gonna be locked in, and it's like when I turn 40, I'll drink again. But right, you know, I thought about it. I started drinking when I was like, I told her, I was like, when you think about it, I started drinking around 15 or something like that, 14, 15. It's like, I mean, realistically, my dad let me taste beer, like, because you know, my dad used to get off work and drink a Budweiser back in like the 90s. When I was a little kid, my dad was like, I asked my dad, I said, "What does that taste like?" And he was here. He let me taste the Budweiser. That shit tastes like shit. I was like, "The fuck is this?" And he was just cracking up. That was the first time I had beer as a little kid. And then when I got like 14, 15, somewhere around that age, I just started drinking a whole lot more. So you can imagine from like the middle of my teenage life, you know, getting hooked up with people that can, you know, older than you, so they can buy the alcohol for you. Then, you know, friends and family members, them motherfuckers will sit there and you know, as long as you're drinking around family, everything is safe, so they're okay with it. And that's part of the culture. That's part of the culture, you know. On left, yeah. And so I was waiting for a car, but that's, you know, when you're amongst family members, it's safe. You know, it's like they're okay if you're doing it around them. So like, you can imagine from like, let's just say 15, let's just say the age of 15 to about uh yeah, pretty much right before I turned 30, because it was June 4th. And I was trying to make it to my 30th birthday, but I couldn't. I was like, you know what, man? Once I turn 30, that's when I'm gonna stop. And then it was June 4th. My birthday's the 25th. I was literally 3 weeks away. Literally 3 weeks away. And I was like, you know, man, I can't even do it. I gotta stop now. That's how bad it got. Because I was sitting there just getting, you know, all rah rah and whatever. Shit like that, man. You know, I don't know if I like this table. I prefer the other table. Depends where the sun shines at. Sunshine's right here. Yeah, let me sit right here. It depends where the sunshine is at. What state we in, man? We're in Washington State, man. We're in Washington State. Maybe get some sunlight over here. Yeah, the other table might have been better. I don't know now. All right, hold on, let me sit right here. The thing is, if I'm sitting right here, the tree's gonna block the sunlight view. So I don't know. Might be the best seat though. Yeah, on this side. That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, let me brought all the tools today, man. There we go. Oh, my bad. I mean, it was like both, right? Because you know you're saying the body, but the mental and the spirit too. I was kind of like, I kind of just knew at that point. Hold on, let me prop my phone up. I'm trying to move my bag. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's really interesting because it's like at the time I didn't understand that my body needed a break, and it was like I just knew so like mentally and spiritually. I always say this, right? Yeah, mental as well. So my thing was this, right? I went, you know, I always used to take my dad and my brother to baseball games. So we went to Mariners versus the Astros. Now, if you don't know about Mariners versus Astros, that's the same Western, you know what I'm saying, Western Division of the American League Conference. And like they're rivals because you know they battle it out all the time to get like the Western spot. And the Mariners, they haven't been in the playoffs for a long time. They had like a 20-year drought or whatever. But anyway, Houston, you know, everybody hates on Houston, like everybody hates on the Astros. So it's funny because I'm over here 300 section at the top, but we're like front row 300 section, and I'm over here holding onto the edge of the banister, which is pretty much like a metal rope, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm usually like really soft spoken and just, you know, chill about everything. I'm always trying to stay like low key and quiet, but here I am screaming at the top of my lungs every time Houston is at bat, talking about Houston is trash. Astros ain't shit. They ain't been shit. I mean, Astros got championships. Let's be honest. So I'm over here talking big shit about Houston, from the 300 section, and I'm drunk as hell. And then like the couple that's next to me, it's like an old couple. They're like 60s, 70s. They're laughing their asses off. A couple more innings in, I'm still doing the same antics. I don't realize how much time has passed. I'm still yelling, and nobody's pulled me to the side. Security ain't stopped me yet or whatever. And the couple left. They probably got a little uncomfortable. And I started realizing I was like, the next day when I got sober, or when I sobered up, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not really embarrassed about my actions. I really don't care. Like that's how I felt. But at the same time, I was wrong because I wasn't being truthful. I never been to the city of Houston, but I like Houston. I fuck with UGK. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Pimp C. You know what I'm saying? Like I fuck with Houston music. So it's just like me talking shit. I was really just talking about the Astros, but I'm very peculiar about the specifics I'm saying. So like the fact that I was specifically saying some fuck Houston shit, I started feeling bad, and I was like, man, I was all fucked. When you get drunk, I don't really feel that. I mean, I'm not saying I don't feel that way, but it's like I felt that way, but the words were wrong, so I felt bad about my choice of words. But realistically, when I thought about it, I was like, well, the energy. I'm not even mad at the energy I had. It was the simple fact that if I can tap into that energy while I'm drunk, that means I'm able to tap into it sober. I just need to figure out how to do it sober. So literally, like after that couple of weeks, I was like, yeah, I'm about to just cut it off at the age of 30. When I turned 30, I'm gonna cut it off. I couldn't even make it to my birthday. It was like 21 days right before my birthday. I was like, yeah, I need to cut it off right now. So I remember that shit, June 4th or some shit. I'm like, yeah, I gotta cut this out because I went and I was getting drunk, talking shit, hanging out, cousins and some people, and like I don't know, maybe they're used to it, maybe they just didn't care, maybe they were just drunk and didn't care. I don't know. But that night, the next morning I went to work and I was talking to this girl, and I was like, yeah, I gotta stop. And then she was just sitting there like, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I just need to stop. I need to access this energy sober. If anything, they call it alcohol for alchemy. Yeah, and that shit is like, I swear, man, that shit is like, because it taps into something that's already there. That's the thing about it, is like it's an alchemic thing. And it's funny because there's different percentages, right? Like you have like 80 proof, but then 80 proof really means 40%. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers will have 180 proof, which is like 90% alcohol. They call it spirit for a reason. Exactly. It's crazy. And it's not by coincidence. That shit is the proof. It's the proof, and the percentages like are coinciding. The name spirits, what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. Cool, all that shit, all that. We can get into that deep shit too, man. I forget all the names and terminology, but you know how that go. Um, but it's just interesting. It's just really interesting how that. And I thought about it because me and my coach talked about this all the time. Where I was like, back when I was training and shit, it was like middle school, so I wasn't on any substances. But they're like, yeah, it's kind of cool that you understand that you won't tap into any substance abuse or alcohol because it's like you should be able to have that um escapism naturally. You shouldn't have to rely on stuff, because some people become addicted. This goes back to the quick fixes. You just like, all right, for once, I'm just gonna get one drink one time. Okay, I'm gonna smoke one time, and then all of a sudden it becomes a habit because you can't control that one time fix. You know what I mean? So people have to be mindful of that shit because that one time fix might feel so good in that moment, or might be so whatever in that moment that you got to be careful that like you might want to chase it again. It's a chasing feeling, so you got to be careful. Oh yeah, if you know what the gin is, they call it gin for a reason. It's funny. So last night I was with my friend, and like we're pointing out the alcohols on the shelf, and then I was like, you got addicted person. See, and everyone has like a thing, and like I think for me it's like the alcohol thing. Like I had no issue drinking on my own because let's say I worked overtime. If I worked overtime, I used to feel like I deserved drinking up by myself. But I really enjoyed drinking socially. But I also drink by myself because it was like, well, some people are busy, so I'm just gonna do this, and I'm just gonna talk to the bartender and talk to the restaurant people. So I'll just go out and meet new people. That's just kind of who I was. But it's really interesting because like last night, it was my friend's like it wasn't her birthday, but it was like some days had passed, and then I remember we were talking last night because I pointed something out on the shelf. I was like, "You see gin? Like they have it all like lined up. This is vodka right here. Is tequila. Vodka. Here's the gin, and then here's like the rum. Here's the whiskeys. You know what I'm saying? And here's the other shit. And like we're just pointing everything out. The bourbon. So they start from the clears all the way down to the darks. And then I was like, "Do you like gin?" And she's like, "Nah, gin is rough." I was like, "Yeah, gin is like it's like a dry, like stale water that's rough. You know what I mean? It's really it's like spiked stale water. Shit is crazy." But it's funny because we're talking about that shit, and I was like, it's funny because like gin by it's terrible enough to let you know you're not supposed to have it, but it gets you drunk enough and it's cheap enough that you would just naturally you'd mix it with what gin and juice. You know what I'm saying? To be gin and some other shit. You know what I'm saying? There's literally a song, gin and juice, dry as fuck. There it is. It's like dry and nasty and it's strong, but it hits. You know what I'm saying? You get enough of it, it hits. I used to put that shit over ice like I was doing something. I was like ice and gin, like I was doing something, and then play some video games. I was like, yeah, I ain't shit. You know you ain't shit when you're drinking like that. But yeah, I used to do like you do like Tanqueray and like pineapple Tanqueray and cranberry type shit. And I remember all these flavors and shit. I don't. It's not that I don't miss them. I just have enough discipline to tell myself 8 more years, 8 more years, man. You almost there. So the first year was kind of rough because it was like I'd be around people drinking, and I didn't want to drink, but I was just in there like, damn, I kind of, I started to miss the social aspect of it, But it's costing me less money, which is good, so I'm saving money. So I was pretty cool about it. And it's funny because literally, this YouTube channel wouldn't have existed if I didn't stop drinking. Because the thing is, like, when I stopped drinking, I needed something new to what's it called? I needed something new to spend my money on because I would always go outside, spend my money on something, do something kind of socially or just something publicly. You know what I mean? And that social public thing used to just be drinking. I would go to a bar, comfortable places that I would usually drink at. You might meet some new people. You might just talk to bartenders, and they're very social as well. They're social and they're good at talking to people. So they'll hold a conversation with you if it's a slow day. You know what I mean? But literally, I stopped drinking. In what year was that? 2020. Excuse me, 2020. I'm fucking up right now. So it'd have been 2023. Yeah, it'd been like 2023, and around that same time is when I started doing the Pokemon cards. So you can imagine, like I was like, let me just do the Pokemon card shit. I was getting drunk, and then I was like, man, now the fact that I'm spending less money on alcohol, I can spend it more on cards. And I started doing opening one pack of cards a day, showing it off, but then also saving another box on the side. So it was like a good investment thing to do for a year. And then it was also good for the channel because literally with every time I would drop a new YouTube short, I'd get like one new follower. So if I did it for a full year, I had damn near 300 something followers, 400 something followers by then after the full year thing. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And then miraculously, I found Beyblade. And then that shit just started compounding too. So that's, here we are. Here now doing this stuff. So it's really interesting. Like it created a bit of clairvoyance in my mind to kind of, now that I'm like drinking less, I have this, which is really cool. I have something else to put my money and energy into. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, my bad. You've been trying to discipline with Cida, or side like the ciders. Are you talking about that? Appreciate it for the sub, man. You just start getting Pokemon cards for your kid. That's good. That's good. Yeah, man. It's an interesting thing because it's like I'm happy I was able to do shit now. I mean, excuse me, earlier, like 2 years. Soda, excuse me, soda. That's what you meant. That makes a lot of that makes a lot more sense. And I'm trying to, bruh, you telling me. The thing is, like if I'm not drinking soda, right? It'll be like Gatorade or like a Prime bottle. It'll be like Gatorade Prime or like there's like the off-brand like energy kind of energy juices or whatever you call that shit. I don't know what to call it, bro. But it'd be something like that. It'd be something along those lines. So it's really interesting. But yeah, the reason why I did the Pokemon stuff is because my brother just kept talking about it. He just kept talking about these new cards, and he just kept saying shit. And he said, yeah, they're about the He said, how Pokemon cards usually have the yellow border. He said because Scarlet and Violet is new, they're gonna start having like a silver border. I was like, and I started listening. I was like, wait, what do you mean? And around the same time, I was always into investments and investment pieces, whatever it is, like a physical investment it could be. I would just be trying to get into it. So the moment he said that shit, the moment he went, it's gonna go from yellow borders to silver. I was like, wait, what? So I started listening. I said, well, if they're going silver borders, that means it's going to be the first of its kind. If it's the first silver borders, we're going to start there. So the first set was Scarlet Violet, and then they had all these different releases. Every time there was a new release, I'd get two of everything. One to keep inside the box, the other to kind of just keep, or to open up for YouTube and shit like that. So I just thought about it. I was like, well, 5 or 10 years from now, if you try to get base set Pokemon stuff, it's going to be a lot. But if you try to get the brand new thing that started, with the silver border stuff, like start with Scarlet Violet. So yeah, you said your sugar's starting to feel it, like beer is hurting your body. Oh really? Yeah, it's interesting because I think when I get enough like sugar and I start to feel something in the joints a little bit, but like I have to eat a lot because I'll eat like a whole bunch of gummy bears or like gummy worms or something funny, and then I'll have like if there's chocolates around the house, and then if you get like a Gatorade, a Prime bottle, or whatever, like anything that's a sugary drink, the moment I start drinking that shit, because all it is like 68 grams of sugar in in a bottle, and you can kill a bottle of soda really quick. And you think about how much that piles up in the body and just sits there, and it just kind of whatever simmers in there, all the sugar and shit. It's kind of crazy to think about. But it should be bomb though. That's the fucked up part. It'd be bomb as hell. You know what I'm saying? The soda and everything, soda and all the drinks be hella bomb, but then like it goes really good with most meals, you know what I'm saying? But you said you know nothing about Pokemon, so I mean, you just start you just I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert. Just start with it. Just start with it and then just start learning stuff. Just listen to people. When you start running into people, 68 cubes of sugar is wild. But yeah, it's like, just 68 grams. It's just grams pretty much. And like, yeah, your gram is like a pretty much like a, yeah, it's like a, yeah, it's just liquid death. It's literally liquid death. No pun intended to the sparkling water, whatever it's called, liquid death, or whatever. But with the Pokemon stuff, man, just follow different channels and listen to different people's you know, intake on it, input or whatever. Because and then every time you run to someone that has like a hating kind of whatever for it, as long as the hate is for the people more so than the actual cards, if that makes sense. And like I'll tell you something that like, I used to talk about this shit a lot with like people at work. There was this dude at work. He's really into baseball cards, and he was trying to get into NFL cards, but he knew more about baseball than he did football. But he was talking. He was like, it's funny because one of these players can have a really great rookie year, sophomore year, and then just like a great career in general, and then the card just keeps going up over time. He would say that about baseball players. He said, but the one moment that player has like a rape charge or an accusation or something, the price of that card goes down. So you got to flip it quick sometimes. He said it's good to hold on to stuff, but sometimes you want to get rid of things at the peak moment. You just want to be on top of things. So that was what he was saying with baseball cards, because like you pay attention to the players. You pay attention to like, okay, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's like the goat. He's the goat QB, but it's like his prices are going up, going up, going up, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, is that a MAGA hat in his locker? So then all of a sudden the price goes down. So it's like all these kind of weird things start to factor into like the actual aspect of these human beings that are on these cards. So here's what we started to realize. He's like, I was so into baseball cards that I neglect. He said, this is the guy at work. He said, I was so into baseball cards, I neglected the fact that there was Disney cards and Marvel cards. And the thing about Disney or Marvel is that, oh yeah, Mickey Mouse is always going to be loved, and so is Donald Duck, and so is all the other people in Disney, Simba and shit like that. And then on Marvel side, everyone's gonna always love Spider-Man. Everyone's always gonna love Wolverine. They're always gonna love whoever, just name whoever, from like the X-Men to there's people who are niche Doctor Doom fans, Iron Man, things like that. So like, but again, the thing about these characters is that their storyline and what they represent is set in stone. They're not a real flawed character. See, the prices go up and down with flawed individuals that are actually real life human beings that feed families. You know what I'm saying? A real life, like a Spanish player, bruh, that just accidentally like was sending tweets or DMs. Like, think about this though. A Spanish player who's like accidentally sending DMs to a girl who is like 17 pretending to be 21 can get in trouble, and all of a sudden the price of his card will go down. But Pikachu will always be Pikachu. You understand? All you have to care about is the main shit. Just start with the main shit. Start with the mainstream shit, and then just branch into like the meaning and the whatever of all of it, like the depth of it. Because if you know about Marvel, fuck with Marvel cards. You understand? Like whatever your niche is, whatever you know about, just stick with that. There's people who like they're big fans of Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh. You keep going down the line, they're fans of all of it, so they collect all of it, and then they play all of it. And then some people play all of it, and then sell it later. And some people are just like, they're like the scalpers. You know what I'm saying? The scalpers are gonna. The Shannon Sharp card is going down. Hey man, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shannon Sharp card is probably going down as much as like I forgot. There was one dude. I forgot the baseball player's name that like he supposedly sexually harassed some teen or something fucked up. And I was like, yeah, bro, it's like that. It just takes one little controversial thing from a real life human being. But again, these that's the thing about fantasy. You can flip the fantasy because Pikachu will always represent Pikachu. You know what I'm saying? Pikachu will always represent Pikachu. And the other thing is like Captain America is always going to be Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man's always going to, everyone loves Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man. What's going on, Cash? What's going on, Cash? Happy Wednesday, dear brother. Yeah, man, it's one of them days. I thought about it. I was like, I was gonna go live Thursday, but I was like, libraries don't open until 12. At least, well, they open at 10, but the one that's up the street from my house opens at 12. So I was like, let me just go ahead and take my time. And then in the beginning, I was just talking about quick fixes and respect, self-respect and whatnot. You're at work, but you're clocking in for the. Oh, I appreciate it, Cash. Thank you for dropping in, Cash. Thank you, man. Um, yeah, I wonder how Sunday's gonna turn out, man. Speaking of which, since you're here, I think like, excuse me, I was talking to a lot of people in the Discord and just like personal messages, and like a lot of people are just saying they're gonna drop in. So I'm like, damn, we might get another dozen people at least, and that's not even to count the small amount of 4 or 5 people that haven't showed up in a while. So we'll see who shows up and just hangs out with us. So I mean, if you're available, man, there's also a tournament Saturday. That's all the way in Sumner though. You might be busy, so but that shit, I don't know if I'm gonna go to it. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I feel like spending money that day. Sunday, I don't need to spend money, but we'll see. I'm gonna think about it. I'm supposed to be hanging out with someone over the weekend, so I almost want to save my energy for that instead. Excuse me. But yeah, nah, Cash. Appreciate you dropping in. But yeah, Tile, it's really interesting, man. It's like whatever your niche is, whatever your thing is, you know what I'm saying? Because like I went through a that's another thing I guess I'll talk about is like I was thinking about this too, man. I thought about it like earlier in the day. A word more people also can't do this weekend, but definitely another week or so. We're gonna wait till I get. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, man. I just sold some stock like last week or 2 weeks ago. So I pretty much paid myself just so I can have some like payments on the credit card and like other stuff that I paid. Because I went and bought Scorpio Spear and the Fox, whatever the fuck the Fox name was. I just bought that shit. So um yeah, man. And that's another thing, Tal. I don't know if you're still there, Tal Rob, but it's like um Beyblade, man. Beyblade is like whatever the storyline or whatever the thing represents, it's set in stone because of the story. So you're flipping the fantasy. So when you start going based off of that, you'll realize like, okay, why is Goku what it is? You know what I'm saying? The Goku thing is interesting because it's like, oh yeah, Goku represents something, and the Goku represents like there wouldn't be no Naruto without Goku. There wouldn't be Goku without Superman. So now you go back to Superman. You know what I mean? So it's just like you just go down the line, go down the lore. What came first? What was this? You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't get the World War II morale that we have without Captain America. So Captain America is always going to be what it is. But think about what I'm going to say to you. So Goku, Goku is an alien that came to Earth in a pod. He had a tail. He was kind of weird, and then he ended up learning how to be a human being because he was raised by human beings. What is Superman's story? Superman landed in the middle of like what, Kansas or some shit, in the middle of the Midwest, next to Metropolis, not too far from Metropolis. He's really an alien kid that's really strong, but he's raised by some fucking he's raised by some human beings. He learns how to be a human, but he's like hella strong. It's the same thing as Goku. So like, but Superman came first. Think about it. Superman came first, um, and then Goku's pretty much inspired by it. This is literally the same thing. Literally the same thing, just different circumstances. You got Kansas, and then you got like the jungles of like China, Japan-ish, or whatever the fuck for Goku, because Goku is based off of the Monkey King. You know what I'm saying? The Goku Uma. No, Goku Uma's the noodles, but Goku something. But you know what I'm trying to say. World War II really did spawn all the fictional characters we know. There would be no anime without World War II. I mean, to some degree. I don't think there's any anime without Superman, if that makes sense. There's no anime without Superman, and like it's kind of interesting because you had those Japanese caricatures. Like I guess so. You got to think about it. Astro Boy came from Astro Boy is like the first manga, so it starts with manga, right? But then what inspires Astro Boy? It just comes down to like robotics and physicist type shit, which is like the state of the world. But does that make sense? It's like, and then it's just like, wait, if we're gonna do like a whole manga thing, because like I guess I'm sure pre-manga there was comic books, like Western comic books, but I don't know if there was anything robotic within those comic books at the time. It was just superhumans. It was like, hey, they took Captain America has a secret serum and he drinks it. Superman was just actually from another planet. That's why he's really strong. He's really a strong alien. So like they had all these different stories, but the actual robotics behind it were more like spaceships at the time. But then I think manga, I could be wrong, but I feel like manga, but the Astro Boy was the first ones to really push like, hey, these are guys that like really are like scientists and robotics people, and they really create stuff. Because Japan was big on that, you know what I'm saying? Also, Japan was also like, you got to remember, Japan was they were allies with Germany, which and Germany was like, or Nazi Germany especially was into the robotics and things like that, robotics and technology, science and things like that. So that kind of side of the hemisphere was really tapped in with that shit. Russia too, basically. So like it is big over there, but I'm trying to think of some shit World War II era that would have dealt with robotics. in the Western side. Like it might have been, I don't know when they started doing Iron Man and Doctor Doom. That's the only thing I could think of in terms of robotics. But I think Astro Boy really set this shit off when in terms of like manga and whatnot. And then I guess Japanese people started thinking like, well, damn, if we're gonna do the robotics shit, why not get into like Fist of the North Stars? And they started doing Kenshiro. They started doing different forms of Bruce Lee and martial arts, right, honoring him. And it's like, then yeah, Goku is just pretty much Superman mixed with the Monkey King. And then I'm trying to think what else was early. I'm sure there was some earlier shit. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. Yeah, I used to read a lot of Astro Boy in like fourth and fifth grade. When I found out he was the first manga or whatever, I was like, oh, yeah, let me tap in with this. Let me see what this is. I'm sure comic books existed before Astro Boy, but yeah, it's really interesting how that works. It's really interesting. I'm trying to think like the World War II era is really interesting because there was a different type of like media morale. You know what I mean? There's people that like again, Captain America inspired people to like to fight. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. And then I'm trying to think. I gotta know my timeline. There's a whole documentary on this. I gotta find this shit, man. I gotta find this shit. But it pretty much gets into like I don't obviously Captain America's not the first, but it was like a moment in time. Yeah, that era was really interesting. You know, that was a really interesting era. Yeah, and it's funny because if you fast forward, so that's like so that was like what 19 um like the 30s. Let's say like the 30s to the 40s, somewhere around that age, and then you kind of fast forward towards like 60s 70s 60s and 70s you have the civil rights movements, and then Stan Lee inspires he gets Martin Luther King and does Professor X, he does Malcolm X and creates Magneto, so it's just, you know, it just can kind of continues, which is really interesting. So, and that was like what 30 trying to think, because you know World War II was around the 30s because my grandpa was only single digits, he was only like single digits, and his dad had left him in the Philippines around that same time era. But yeah, I think about this shit a lot because like, you know, I remember growing up in the house, like the house I grew up in. My grandpa actually had a, or excuse me, we had these like you know, like water guns and stuff, like the small water guns you get from like Walgreens and like grocery stores and shit. So whenever it's about to be summertime, they start selling water guns at the store. This is like 90 whatever, 96 to 98 type shit. You get these little water guns, you just fill them up at the hose, you know, outside, and then you just start playing with it out in out in the yard or whatever, out on the street. My grandpa, like because he grew up in that World War II era, and like they were like, you know, he was like a little boy, so they're getting like victimized and attacked pretty much on the islands. Like whenever he would see any form of gun, like even if it was like a water gun, he would just break that shit. Like he wouldn't even have to have water in it. He would have water, it wouldn't have it. He would just start breaking that shit. And he was a strong, like he was paralyzed on his left side, but he still had like he was still hella strong. You know what I'm saying? He used to just drag the left side of his body, but he would just break any form of gun that we had. So it could be like a Nerf gun, water gun, whatever. He just broke that shit. And it's funny because like if he never did that, I don't think me and my brother would have been boxing it, which is funny because we just rely on our hands our whole life. We're just like, yeah, fuck a gun. You know what I'm saying? We was on some hand shit. Hit him hand to hand with it. You know what I'm saying? You pull the strap out, pause, and you know, we throwing hands. It don't matter. Not that ever happened, but I'm just saying. So it's just kind of interesting because we grew up in that's so the same thing, right? His what am I trying to say? His priorities or whatever. His I don't know what the word is, man. Priorities and ethics. We'll just say that for now. He wasn't fucking with guns. So anything that was a form of or a shape of it, he wasn't fucking with it. I think, you know, I'm pretty sure my dad had a gun, but he didn't like the idea of it. But he understood like protecting the household and shit. But it's just like raising the kids with the normalcy of that. And it was weird because like he was kind of okay with us watching TV shows that had it. You know what I'm saying? Because Chuck Norris will have that shit. Chuck Norris will throw hands though. That's the thing. Chuck Norris will throw hands. So we'd be watching that in Mortal Kombat, and then like wrestling. We'd be watching wrestling and shit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no guns in wrestling. They'd be hitting each other with chairs though. Motherfuckers are fighting with chairs and barbed wire and like, you know, Mankind or whatever his name was. What's that dude? Mick Foley. They'd be throwing him on thumbtacks and shit. That was crazy. It was crazy. But like he really just like hand to hand combat type shit. You know, he wasn't a martial artist by any means. He was more of like my grandpa's more like a power lifter kind of guy, like a weightlifting kind of guy. So he was more like that. But I think he said he did a little bit of boxing in high school when like the war kind of calmed down, and then when high school happened, they had boxing programs at his school. and excuse me, at his high school, and this is in the Philippines, so they had programs like that. He said I did a little bit, but like I don't know, I just came to the States and they had like weights and barbells and dumbbells. I just wanted to be like those strong men, like because you know like they had Schwarzenegger and the other dude. It was damn, what's his name? Derek Coleman or whatever. Or, I forgot dude's name, Henry something or whatever. All those strongman dudes, little bodybuilding stuff. So like those were the magazines and like all the weightlifting stuff was inspiring him when he got to the States. Anyway, that's like long ass time ago. But again, fast forward in our era, we were playing Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64, and like Nintendo 64 era, we're just playing these video games. And you know how it is, you got to get through a certain level and then save at the end. And then after you save it, you can turn the game off. So he's literally telling me, my brother, and my cousin, he's like, hey, you guys got to turn off the game. It's my grandpa. He's like, you got to turn off the game. You guys need to go to sleep. Just take an afternoon nap or whatever. Go to sleep. And we're kids. We're like, hold on, we got to save the game. He doesn't have no concept of us saving the game. He's like, hold on, we got to save the game. So it looks like we're ignoring his orders or ignoring him, and we're just keep playing the game. But we're trying to get to a save spot. We're trying to hurry up and get to a save spot. And it'd be different type of games. And he was like, I told you to like turn it off. I was like, we're trying to save the game. And he gets mad, and like at some point he just yanks the cartridge out of the fucking system and starts breaking the cartridge, and we're just upset, like what the fuck. So his, like growing, like what I'm saying is like growing up, the idea of the fun shit, whether it be the water guns, the game cartridges, so, okay, we can't have water guns, let's get video games. Okay, now you're breaking our video games. So he'd always just take out this like, this whatever you call it, this what do you call this shit, untherapeuticized anger on us. And there was no therapy in that era. This is like 2 generations before me, so there was no therapy, no concept of that. It was just like my way or the highway, or like have some fucking respect, and I'm gonna beat your ass to get some respect out of you, type shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like me getting into Pokemon and Beyblades and all that shit, it's like I'm escaping this childhood where like I'm like into something for a while. Like I would be into something for like a week or like a month or like a year. And my cousin was here for a year, so we played Beyblade for like a year or something, or a couple months or whatever. And then he moved, so then I didn't play Beyblades anymore. The Pokemon era went away because we started moving, and I was like, okay, there's priorities. You're raised with this idea of priorities, where it's like, okay, the toy gun is not that important. Okay, the game cartridge isn't that important. As much as it's a piece of my childhood, as much as it matters to me in the back of my mind, it's just there's something that's letting me know, like, bro, I can't even you know what I'm saying? I can't even enjoy this shit because it's just real life happening around me. You know what I'm saying? We're dealing with hood shit. We're having to move now. We can't afford shit. Well, if you can't afford shit, why are you gonna buy video games? Go buy food before you buy video games, right? Go buy food before you buy entertainment. So it's really interesting. So it's like growing up in this survival kind of mentality, or like this having less than mentality and shit like that. It's like it taught me as a kid to like, yeah, I used to enjoy certain things at a time period when everyone in the house had a job, but when everyone started getting handicapped and it was forced to retire and forced to quit, and then my dad was the only breadwinner in the house, when it started to get bad and bad and bad, and we started getting broker, we just started thinking of priorities. And then I went from video games to boxing, so I'm just thinking about real life shit. I'm just thinking about sports. All I like to care about was real life shit. And then it's funny because now that I'm older, I'm revisiting all this stuff that like sparks a memory in my childhood, and I'm utilizing it not necessarily for profit, but I'm utilizing it as an investment piece, and it's something that I can enjoy and monetize. Well, I'm not monetized, but I'm saying it's something that I can create content out of. You know what I'm saying? So like I was like, well, you know what? I remember the days when I was able to enjoy Pokemon Blue version, Gold version, certain Dragon Quest games, certain Dragon Warrior games, collecting the cards, looking at them, playing with the actual Beyblades. I remember those times. Now I'm able to film and document it and just show it to people. And if I get monetized, I do. But right now I'm not. So I'm trying to get there with all these lives. But my bad. You see, I be doing that shit with my kids sometimes. I need to chill. Hearing that, I forget to have fun sometimes. And you know what, man? It's like you just as long as you're not breaking their shit and breaking their hearts, I understand. You understand, like Tal. I understand exactly where you're coming from. Like you just gotta, because like it is like there's some kids out there. Like I've known like my niece. My niece is so spoiled that she left. Like she's had like 3 or 4 different DSs, 3DSs, DSIs. She's had so many different DSs that she just leaves on planes, or she leaves at a school somewhere, and someone takes it and doesn't tell her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's so fucking spoiled. People are always gonna give her shit. So you just gotta teach them the value of shit. Like, oh, you got your shit robbed, you got your shit taken away, you put your shit somewhere, you weren't being responsible for it. That's on you. But like I'm gonna, you don't keep spoiling them. So I think there's a good balance, Rob. It's like there's a good balance, man. It's like um because that kids will take that shit for granted, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you being tough on them is important because you're their dad or whatever. I'm assuming you're a dude because it says Rob, but like you're their parent, so it's like you just you got to be tough on them. You got to teach them like, hey man, back in my day we didn't have these privileges. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have this shit. Man, what the hell? It's a big ass fly. It's like we didn't have like the convenience of having this and then research at the tip of our thumbs type shit. You could look up anything now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, how do I plug this thing? How do I do this hardware stuff, this software stuff? And you just look it up real quick. And like back then, we had to wait the next day to go to the library, check an encyclopedia, or ask somebody at the front desk, like, hey, do you have something that pertains to this digital device that I can look up? And then maybe it'll give me some stuff and say, well, we can show you the book and maybe I can help you with it. Like, you have to go to like certain places. You have to go, places. You know how it used to be. It's like you usually just had to go to like certain like fucking what's that shit called, bro? Like Radio Shack. Motherfuckers used to have to go to Radio Shack for electronics and shit. Motherfucker go to Radio Shack and be like, "Hey, how do I do this? What am I doing wrong?" And they'll walk you through it like slowly. And then like, what's the other one, man? They had the other big ass store. There's Radio Shack and then the big one. Man, I forgot that Radio City or something like that. I don't know, but it's like you take them to them places, and it's just like you can imagine back then we didn't have a car, so it's like you have to call someone. Radio Shack, bro. Bro, it's funny because I remember like let's say it was something like hella deep, like because I live in Seattle, so it's like there'd be somewhere all the way down in Tukwila at the mall, South Center and shit. And then like we don't have a car at the house, so then I gotta call someone on the landline, make sure no one's using the phone first. Get on the landline, listen. All right, no one's using. Boom, and then like you remember back then you remember all the numbers. Like I remember all the numbers, so I type in my cousin's number, they don't pick up. Type in another number, boom, 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 punch that in, whatever. I said type, but punch it in. You start calling people, and all of a sudden the AOL shit going, they're using the internet. Oh damn, I gotta call them in like 10, 20 minutes when they're done using the internet. And then you hit them up, and you're like, hey, can I get a ride? So, whoop wop, and go to a little store and it'll take you there. But back then you have to wait. Like, things are so immediate now. You can just learn shit, figure it out. And it's just like, oh, I need a what I'm saying? If a kid's trying to figure out how to play an old game system, oh, I need AV cables, they'll look it up. They'll look up how to put the AV cables in the new HDMI converter. Like they'll know how to do that shit because you can look it up in like 5-10 minutes. And what makes it crazy is in the same 5-10 minutes, they can go on Amazon and order some shit, and that's the only waiting they have to do. Back then, you had to like go to the store, see if they had it, and if they didn't have it, they would place the order for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the time thing now. It's like it's really interesting because the time is very convenient for them. And time and ordering and the money stuff is very convenient for them. And it's also like they're kids; they don't have jobs, so they're based off of you spending the money and shit. So anyway, I say all that to say like my nieces and nephews are like they're spoiled the same way that I was spoiled back in the same context of the 90s. You know what I'm saying? 90s, 2000s, I was spoiled compared to the generations that raised me. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, I say this all the time. I remember back when you had the, when you would finish watching a VHS and then you'd put it in a separate VHS rewinder. And this is before they had those VHS players that would rewind it for you. And you could like, and then you had a remote that would like, remember it was like Blockbuster and like Hollywood Video would say like, um, please rewind your movies before you return them. You know what I'm saying? So like when people started getting rewinders in their house and started buying rewinders, it was like, and the thing is, if you didn't rewind, sometimes if you didn't rewind your VHSs, they would pay you like a little fine, like, oh, you didn't rewind it. Well, we're gonna have to charge like an extra dollar or something just for labor, like labor just to push a fucking button. Just fucking hilarious. But like it'd be stupid shit like that. But that's crazy to think about. So anyway, I say all that to say like, yeah, you shouldn't feel bad about being a parent. You know what I mean? There's a good balance. Like as long as you're not breaking their hearts, is what I'm trying to say. I say all that shit to say, like when you understand the scope of them, this time period where it's like they have it really easy, and it's just like because they have it easy, you almost have to like be smart enough to explain it to them slowly, like, hey, this is just not some you strip this away from you and you don't have entertainment. Like, what do you have? And you gotta. That goes back to the self-respect thing. Is like how do people enjoy their own time? Excuse me. Ooh, man, that's burp. But it's really interesting because the um the um the other night we had this kind of like a blackout, like a power outage on my block. But it was funny because I literally walked outside when the blackout happened. It was supposed to be scheduled between 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. and it ended up starting around 10 p.m. and it only lasted till about 12, so it was 2 hours. But anyway, during that time period, I did walk outside and I was checking shit. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I started walking around. I was like, man, this is just my house. Is it just my duplex? Because the neighbors on the other side of the duplex, they were walking around like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why is it dark? And they were upset because over on that side it's an Airbnb. So it's really interesting, man. So then people started packing up their luggage and going some other place because they needed some electricity. Obviously, needed some lights. Motherfuckers need lights. Um, what's hold on, man? These flies up in here. What's interesting is like a lot of the apartments, right, that were like part of the same, like multiple units, but part of the same kind of like power grid, if you will. I'm sure they had a generator to some degree, or something, right? And I know other houses had generators where it's like everybody's lights were on. I was like, why is it only affecting our shit? I don't know why everyone else. I literally saw one of my like, I guess we weren't really friends, but we used to go to the same school. I seen him on his porch. We're on the same block, but he's up the alleyway. I said, bro, you guys still got lights? Did your power go out at all? He said, nah, we didn't have no power outages. I'm like, well, damn. So we're just sitting there, and like I remember like how my brother was kind of frustrated because he was like, man, why is it just our house? He was getting kind of upset, whatever. I was like, man, who gives a fuck? Like it's only 8 hours, man. I'm gonna just go to sleep maybe. There was no power in the house, and I was like, as long as this doesn't, it won't affect the heat, but it's gonna affect the electronic system that's relaying to the heat for 8 hours. So I need to turn the house up to 75, 74 just in case the temperature starts to drop slowly. That was my theory because we keep the house around 69, 70. I was like, let me up it 5 degrees and then maybe over time if things, whatever. But it only lasted 2 hours. But I was like sitting there like I have enough juice on my phone to like watch maybe half an hour's worth of something and fall asleep. And then I think I'll be fine. And then like I don't remember what happened exactly. But like I just was moving around in bed and I looked up and I saw the clock I usually have this electronic clock plugged in. It's like a little small one. And I looked at it, started blinking. I was like, oh, the power's on. So I walked around the house and I just saw everything was on, and then it just stayed on the whole night. Like it was real smooth. I was like, oh, okay, dope. So it was only 2 hours, but I remember like just committing to that feeling of like, all right, if we're gonna be out for 8 hours, like what am I gonna do? A lot of people can't handle that shit. A lot of kids, man, cannot handle that shit, and it's a funny thing. You got to kind of teach them. Like you don't necessarily have to teach them board games and how to light a candle or nothing. You know what I mean? You also got to teach them like AA, AAA batteries for flashlights and shit like that. I mean, that's one thing, but the other thing is like, hold on, man. I swear to God, I'm feeling flies up out here. Am I tripping? I might start moving. But yeah, a lot of people don't know how to deal with the power outages, and we grew up in an area where like power would always go out, like always around fall, winter, the power would just go out in the house. Like the house would just be cold as shit. Power would go out. Even at the old house that we grew up in, we had all these broken windows at our old house. We had the top, the second floor. One of the roofs had like a hole in it. I don't know exactly from what. Some people said it was a woodpecker that was on the side of the house, mixed with just the heavy rain that we constantly get, and then that room would flood, and then it would get down to the not the living room, but like the first floor, because it would leak on the top floor. It would start having all this like water puddles and shit on that top floor, and it would start to leak down into the second floor, and it would like hit people that were like sitting on this couch. Um, that's crazy, man. I remember that back room. People would just be out there. Yeah, life without internet. You know what I'm saying? And it's really because it's like I'm using it right now. Like it's just next to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at this device that can like I can search things up as much as I can stream myself and other things. And it's like to have that convenience taken away does suck. But I'm like, there's nothing wrong with like I'm not saying you gotta find the entertainment of it, but you gotta unplug sometimes, man. You really gotta unplug. You know what I'm saying? Somehow, some way, bro. Am I tripping? I'm like, am I feeling hair or bugs? Like, what the fuck? Am I tripping? I know it ain't bugs. I don't see them. I don't see them. Like I'm looking at my face. I don't see bugs. But yeah, yeah, you gotta unplug, man. It's you gotta unplug. You know what I'm saying? One second, let me check the time real quick. All right, right there, right on time, man. Mikhail Muhammad Oil Levy. That's what you're talking about, man. Let me know if you're trolling so I can get you out of here. Let me know if you're trolling so I can get you out of here. All right. But yeah, it's really interesting, man, because like it was a it's hard for people to buckle down on that, man. You know what I mean? It's hard for people to buckle down on that. Here we go. Oh, how do I do this? Almost forgot how to do this. There we go. But yeah, you gotta learn how to unplug and like just buckle down and like really really lock in on like life itself. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying is like the moment the quick fixes that were borderline addictions started to I started to eliminate them is when I started to have a little more success and also just like a work ethic that you know, it was always there, but it was able to be maximized a little more because it was a time consumption. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. It's like the time I used to, I say this all the time, man. This is literally the time frame of when things happened. I broke up with my girlfriend in 2020, right? Broke up with her, and then like, you know, we had our little thing, and then like I guess a month later, she, you know, we had whatever. I'll spare you the details, but pretty much like around 2021 is like when I was kind of over the, you know, over the, I don't know what the word is. I don't say the grieving of the relationship, but more or less, you know what I'm saying, more or less. So that happens. But then 2021, I also make a decision. So break up with my girlfriend 2020, late 2020, started 2021. I'm just sitting there like, I got to make some hard decisions here. So I decided I would delete Instagram. I deleted Instagram within like a week or a month. You know, my mind is getting clear slowly. It's slowly getting more clear. And then literally within a month, I think it was like Dogecoin. No, excuse me, not Dogecoin. It was GameStop. Like I just happened to have 10 shares of GameStop. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting on it. I don't know why. I bought it for like $5, like $5. So it was like $50. It was $5 each. It was like $50 altogether. $50 ended up turning into 2,900, and I wouldn't have been able to pay attention to that if I was still on social media because I would have logged into social media looking for like reasons. Oh, why is my money up? Rather than just being smart enough to just take the profit. So I was like, okay, boom. I need to eliminate things that are more distractions. So I literally deleted YouTube on my off my phone. I just was like, let me delete this shit because like I wasn't doom scrolling Instagram anymore. Now it's just doom scrolling on YouTube, and I had to get rid of Twitter. I was like, no more doom scrolling on Twitter. You know, now it's X. And then like I swear to God, by like 2022, things just started to make sense. The stock stuff started to make sense. But also 2022, my mom had died, so everything I worked hard for, like I pretty much had to spend all that 10,000 worth of dollars just to like make sure her funeral costs and everything was good. All those payments were good, and then I had to like pay myself back and then also pay off the loans. So then it was a year of locking in on the work, and I was like, if I know I can lock in on the work, I know this is good. You know what I'm saying? And then, so that's 2022. And then after like 2023, when that came in, that's when out of nowhere, I was like, let me just stop fucking around and do the cards. Start to open up the cards. I need to eliminate more things in my life. Started to eliminate the alcohol. All of a sudden, the cards started to make more sense to me. The investment of it just made more sense to me. The sharing of it, the community of it made more sense to me. Then out of nowhere, like because my mind is clear, you know what I'm saying, and I'm doing less, or whatever. I guess I'm a little still distracted on YouTube because I scroll and I use it, right? Then the same thing happened. Like it just started to compound again because I started looking at where are the Beyblade tournaments around here. Let me just look at it. Let me just look this up because I was already in the mindset of just go get up and get, you know what I'm saying, just get up and go for it. Get up and go after the day. And like I'm just looking for shit, and I was like, oh, this shit's all the way in Sumner. That's like 2 hours away, but who gives a fuck? I'll go 2 hours away. I've had trips where like I'm just trying to sell one video game that I have on me, keep it in my backpack, like an $80 video game. I'm trying to sell it for 90, 95, and I'm like going all the way down to rent. Take an hour ride to, take a half an hour ride, 15 to half an hour up north. You know what I'm saying? Um, Try to sell it to some place. They're trying to offer me 85, 90. I'm like, all right. And then I go to Renton. They pretty much offer me the same thing. I go back up north and say, hey, they're offering me this much. And then they start adding more to the price. Like they're offering you 90. You should have told me that sooner. I'll give you 95, 100. I was like, cool. Start selling for like 95, 100. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I remember just like spending days like that. It's like if I could spend days making money just off of one video game, just in transit, how could I not just go catch 1 2 hour ride, 1.5 2 hour ride down to Sumner for a Beyblade tournament and go back home? Like, who cares? So I would just lock in and I started joining the communities. And it started compound, compound, compound. So everything started going in. Do I have any how-to vids on stock? I actually have if you not recently, I don't know if maybe I should do some recent stuff, but the reason why I'm not doing any recent stuff is because, so let me tell you, there's a playlist on my channel called Investing in Entertainment. And like it's very basic, but it was like months ago. It was like last year, if not months ago. It was hella long ago. It was just hella long ago. Like I'll say like a year. Let's just say it was about a year ago, maybe a couple months ago. The thing about that is like that was during that time period. During this time period, I'm more like selling it than I am investing in it. So like I wouldn't, you know, it's not my place to really speak on it. If I get this next job and then I have more income again, I'll probably speak about it more. But you just want to put what you can away. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, the best way to look at it is this, right? I mean, things are changing now because bank accounts are giving you better deals. And again, what I'm going to tell you is like not investing advice. It's just do what the fuck you want to do. But you put that shit in savings or something, you be getting like a penny per quarter, 10 cents per quarter, depending on what you have in there. Anything that's like a 3-digit number, so it'd be like 3 figures to 4 figures. I had I had 3 figures in my savings account for 9 months. It was like 700, 400, and 300. I say this all the time, or 200, excuse me. And those were all 3-figure numbers. But every time a quarter would pass, a quarter of the year would pass, I would get paid a penny. So it ended up being like 700, took 300 out, it became $400.01. $400.01 became $200.02, and then $200.02 became $200.03 because I would just get a penny every quarter. I was like, you telling me that if I have 4 figures, like $1,000, I can get 10 cents. You telling me that if I have 10,000, I can get $1. So you're telling me that if I have 100,000, I can get $10. You tell me if I have a million, I can get 100. So I have to have $1 million to get $100 a quarter. So you make more at a job. So I started thinking, I was like, well, if I invest in these monthly paying dividend stocks that are like dealing with actual real estate, because again they get paid monthly from actual real estate, from the actual rent, they're going to pay you monthly as well. It's just the tax will kind of bite you in the ass in the long run. Comes out in a if you're holding it, you're going to have what, a 20% tax compared to a 40, 20 at the most compared to at the most of 40. So that's the monthly game. That's the monthly stock game. If not the quarterly stock game, that would give you like Coca-Cola was given like what, 25 cents a share. I think they're like 30 cents now, 26, 27. The math made sense to me where I was like, if think about it, like if I have 3 figures in the bank and I'm only making a penny, but then I have 3 figures in Coca-Cola and I'm making 25 cents per share, it's like that means I'm making close to like $10. That's like 100. That's 100% profit. And like come on, like let's do the math. So I was making $100 a quarter from Altria. I say this all the time. I had Altria, highest paying dividend king. Had 100 shares in there. 100 shares that pays you 98 cents per share. Now it pays like $1 per share. That's 100. That's $100 per quarter. And I only had like what, 4,000, 5,000 in there. But again, if I had 5,000 in savings, I would have got like what, 10 cents, if not 50 cents a quarter. 50 cents by the end of the year. 50, a dollar, 150, $2. I would have had $2 at the most by the end of the year. So would you rather have $2 by the end of the year, or would you rather have 400 because you're getting paid 100 a quarter? Would you rather have 400 by the end of the year? So that, yeah, I just look at that shit. Like look at what the dividend pays you. Look at if the company is good. Look if they're actually qualified as a dividend king. Yeah, but stock, who cares? That means you buy more at a cheaper price. That's the thing people always trip at, like, oh, it's going down. It's like, I mean, you're holding it, right? Unless you're planning to sell it, then like, why would you care? But if you're buying more of it, that's why they call it excuse me for the cough, I should have muted, but that's why they call it DCA, dollar cost average. You just keep putting into it slowly. But that's what I'm saying. You got to find something you trust and believe in. Like, you look around your house. If you have a whole bunch of Nike shoes, why don't you have Nike stock? If you have PlayStation games, why don't you have Sony stock? If you have an Apple phone, why don't you have, why don't you own Apple? Things like that. And then you just, they'll pay you way more than savings. But that's the thing. Excuse me. But people, it's not about buying and selling. You can, though. You can buy and sell. You can master that too. I had a friend who was good with, like, he wasn't good with things in the long run. He was good with things in the moment. So he started getting into stocks and options, or options and I forgot the name of the other shit. Options and some other shit. But he was good at that. So it depends on like what you fall in line with. You know what I'm saying? It really goes based on that. What's going on, Ben? Ben Clark. Ben Clark says they're new. What's good? You ever do penny stocks? I used to do a few of them, but I mean, I don't know. It's like, see, with penny stocks, you can afford to lose money, but it's like you can do a penny stock that's going to lose you money, or you can just put your money into something that's like a trustworthy company. That's like, you think about CVS. CVS isn't in damn near every state. You know what I mean? You think about like just like companies that exist everywhere. You could just invest in those things that are trustworthy, nationwide kind of things, USA related things, things like that. I used to like literally just chase the numbers. Like I would do the math on all the numbers. So here's a list of trustworthy companies. I'd write all the ticker symbols down, and then I would do the math on the dividends and if I put 1,000 in it, what that would look like. And then yeah, Ben, I had a feeling that was you, Ben, when it used to be Sarah Lambert. But are you finally using your own account? Thank you for coming in. I was like Ben Clark. He said I was like that might be Ben 10 from Sarah's account, but I don't know. I wasn't sure. I don't remember your last name, Ben. But that's funny. But yeah, I used to just look at the numbers. I used to just do the numbers on it. I'm like, these are 10 of the most trustworthy companies that everyone invests in, and I would just write them down. Then I would look up the what they would pay per share, and then what I would do was be like, okay, I will take $1,000, and I'll do $1,000 divided by the average price of that stock. So let's say the average price of Coca-Cola is like $50. I don't really know this. I'm just saying, 1,000 divided by 50 would be like what, 20? Am I doing the math right on that? Yeah, it'd be 20. So then you get 20 shares, and then let's say they pay 25 cents. So it's 25 cents times 20. You know what I'm saying? 25 cents times 20 is what, 50? Zero. So that's like $5 type shit. Am I doing the math right? Hold on. 20, 20, 25, because then you get the two. First you double it, 250, and then the zero. Yep. So it'd be five. But again, it's like you put that same 1,000 into the savings because it's a four-figure number. You're only getting 10 cents. So would you rather have that $5, or would you rather have the 40 cents? You see what I'm saying? Because you have a four-figure number in savings. Because you have four figures, you're like 0.01% or whatever the fuck the number is, which means you'll only get 10 cents to your 1,000. You know what I mean? So if you're getting 10 cents to the 1,000, and if I put my 1,000 in Coca-Cola, the average price is 50 or $60. I'm getting at least 20 to 15 shares. 20 to 15 times 25 cents or more. I think it's 52. I think they pay like 30 cents a share. So it's just like that's per quarter. And then your savings pays you per quarter, and so does the stocks. And here's the thing: is like at any point, like here's the thing: when you sell the value of your savings account, it's always going to be that whatever you put in there. So it's always going to be stale, like stalemated at that. But when you have it in a stock, like it may or may not go up or down. So if you ever wanted to make the sale, you'd want to sell it when it's up, and you want to, you don't necessarily have the time to market for that. If you just need the profits, you would just sell when it's up. But nonetheless, if you just let it sit there, you'll get more profit. That's you should treat the stocks like savings anyway. But you would just have to know, that's why it's important to do your research. Like back to the soda stuff. Like even when I stopped drinking Coca-Cola for a while, I was still investing in the stock because I was like, I remember I used to spend so much money buying the Coke. Now it's time for me to, excuse me, I used to spend so much money buying the Coca-Cola. Now it's time to buy the Coca-Cola stock. So that was my logic. You know, I had a little bit of Nike, but I was like, I mean, I can make more dividends off of other shit like Altria. Altria is like cigars and wine, and then they're the highest paying dividend king. That literally pays $1 per share. They paid $1 per share, and they're about 50 something bucks right now. And then the other thing is like they're starting to get away from like cigarettes and shit like that, and they're starting to get into like the nicotine patches and like things that deal with vaping and stuff like that. Ben says, answer you now. You've been trying to go wait. You've been trying to find you going live, but couldn't, and you're really sad. I took some time off, Ben. But you're funny though, Ben, because you're over here being demanding, so you're getting banned for fun. But appreciate you dropping in. But yeah, man, I don't understand like the demanding shit. Like there was a dude in the last live who was like, "Hey, save free Palestine, save free Palestine." He just kept like demanding it, and I was like, I was like, bro, I don't disagree with free Palestine, but why are you demanding this shit? Like, there's a reason that you're on the live asking someone to be a keyboard warrior, and then it's like there's people who ask people to save free Palestine, and there's other people who actually help Palestine. Does that make sense? There's people that actually go out there, go towards the Middle East, and actually do something. There's people who actually do actual whatever media around this. But it's like you ever hear bugging people like a fake whatever, and like the same thing when people get demanding with like, hey, just answer me. Like I don't know, Tao. So Rob, that's just a little kid that comes to hang out. But it's like I make it a point to be like, hey man, that please and thank you and being respectful is still a thing. I don't care how old you get or how old you are, or even if you're on the internet and you have a different username, just be respectful. Like I don't know why you're being demanding for people. Like And I agree with you. Like, I didn't want to go live for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, let me just like take time off to actually create other things. But that's where I was at, Ben. If you're still hanging out, but it was like all the demanding shit is weird. But yeah, I don't know. But the other thing is like, yeah, I don't know if I should do the stock stuff again because when I get back into making money and saving and investing in, maybe I'll do it. But as of right now, I'm jobless, so I don't have much income. Most of my income is coming from dividends and then having to sell and flip the stock if I need to. But I'm waiting on this crypto thing for this month. That's a whole nother thing. Crypto's a lot more volatile, way more volatile. So I don't encourage that for people. But if you're into it, man, just study on it and then swap notes with me. That's about it. But yeah, man, really interesting stuff. That's why it was kind of see Rob. It's kind of rude because you and I were having a conversation about stocks and stuff, and then he's making it about him. That's where I was like, no, we have to draw the line at shit like that. Like and it's no disrespect to you, Ben. It's just understanding, like, hey, man, I'm addressing Rob, and like you're making it about you. You understand? That's what it's about, Ben. But I always appreciate you dropping in. Ben was also trolling my live a long time ago, so he didn't want to get banned, and he was sad about it. And I'm like, again, you troll, you get banned. I remember Jax took care of him. That was one of my mods. Jax took care of him a long time ago, which is funny. It happens. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. 1 second, let me check something. But he's still. Oh, my bad. Yeah, he's still here in the chat probably because there's people that come in and out. But I'm probably gonna walk towards the corner or the convenience store, grab something to drink, and then just post up and do. Actually, hold on. Let me check something. I don't know. Yeah, I might end it and then just walk to the store and grab something to drink, and then just. I'm gonna do Monster Hunter for like an hour, and then I gotta do some logistical stuff on my own YouTube channel. I gotta listen to some stuff in the background, do some logistical stuff, and then yeah, I'm gonna do all that. I gotta blow my nose because I could feel all this phlegm building up from me just talking all fucking day, all fucking morning. I wonder if these people walking by, these neighbors, are like getting annoyed. It's like this guy be talking at the park all the time, bro. Rob, I appreciate you dropping in. I appreciate you subbing. I'm here, man. I'm trying to do. I put a poll up. So for those dropping in and out, I did a poll on my channel, community post, and it says, should I go live every 4 days, once a day, as much as I can throughout the day, and whatever the votes is, I'm just gonna go based on that. And if people have other options, then whatever. But I'm gonna try to do this as much as I can because I think my my throat and nose are like, you need to talk more to get that all that energy and phlegm out. Because I've just been sitting at the house in a dusty ass room playing video games, wasting time right now. So, but yeah, you're gonna tap in. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate everyone dropping in. I'm gonna play some Monster Hunter and then work on some stuff at the library. I might get back on live later. We shall see. But I gotta upload some stuff, clear out some space on my laptop. Whoop wop, yada yada. You know what I'm trying to say. All right, y'all, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace.